facets, including what we need to do in terms of reasonable gun safety laws and what we need to do around crime prevention, what we need to do around crime deterrence. But listen, I have personally prosecuted homicide cases.
Yeah, Kamala, cases like you framing Jamal Truelove, throwing him in jail for something he didn't do and laughed at him about it.
So, but the thing about it, and this is where politics play. If they would have granted me a new trial based off this evidence that was strong fucking evidence, if they would have granted me a new trial, headlines would have been San Francisco District Attorney Kamala Harris convicting the wrong people in a time that she was moving to be Attorney General. You got the crime lab, you got 2 murder cases that has convictions that instantly get new trials to them based off new evidence and faulty testimony in general. And I'll never forget when I turned around and I looked and I seen Kamala Harris, you know, we locked eyes this one time and she laughed. She literally just like kind of bust out laughing, almost as in if she was pointing at him like, ha, 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 ha.
Because how could I not?
Yeah, it's amazing how she's always talking about she was a prosecutor, but they never bring up her many cases like Jamal Truelove that had to be overturned, and in his case, the city had to pay out $13 million for Kamala prosecuting the wrong person. And they never bring up her locking up black mothers and fathers for truancy when they had sick children like Miss Peoples in California.
Her teachers had her medical records from the Children's Hospital. I even had a 504 plan, which was an agreement between the school district and the parents to provide care for students with disabilities. It was April 18th, 2013, in the morning. I'm in my pajamas. I had just fed my daughter, gave her medications, sent her off to school. Little did I know, there was a warrant out for my arrest. All of a sudden, the police is outside my house and they started banging on the door.
Because how could I not?
And they said, go talk to Kamala Harris. The next day, the Orange County Register showed the pictures of my arrest. They even had a close-up picture of my hands in handcuffs to show here's a black mother being arrested.
It was a truancy rate at over 2.5 times that of white students.
Everyone knew most truant kids were black.
If you missed those stories, the links are below. But yeah, she's always telling us that she was a prosecutor like that qualifies her to fix the economy and other dire issues we're facing right now. No, her being a prosecutor is just as irrelevant as her being an AKA.
Hello to all my divine 9 brothers and sisters. And my sorors.
No one cares. Now, Kamala's team, they've been watching all of my videos, and I told them before Kamala came out to the media for that CNN interview, after 40 days and 40 nights refusing to interview with anybody. I told them that Kamala never showing up for the NABJ, that's the problem, when her opponent showed up. She should have showed up for the convention like Donald Trump did, but she was too busy at another sorority boule party. And I said back then, she's the VP. She could have had 10 black journalists interview her in one day or the same weekend at her own event, playing something just for her. And of course, they listened to my advice. She sat down with the NABJ this week after 2 months. How she fumbled the easiest interview ever in the most friendly environment ever, I don't know. Just repeating these same stories about her Indian mama. Remember before when they would ask her a question about the economy, she'll start babbling about feeding her grandbaby nieces bacon. Well, now you ask her an important question, she'll start spilling a bunch of baby bop bimbo babble about how her Indian mama saved up to buy a house in Canada.
I grew up a middle-class kid. My mother was hardworking. She raised me and my sister Maya. She saved up, and it was only by the time I was a teenager that she could afford to actually buy her first home. And I know, and I identify with, I know where I come from.
Madam Vice President.
And I know, but I'm just gonna finish, I know.
Like again, answer the lady's question. She's always deflecting and avoiding questions by talking about her mama. We know you not like us, we get it. Answer the questions. Your mama don't got nothing to do with none of this. We're trying to talk about serious issues and she's trying to talk about her mama. Kamala was so frustrated by the end of the interview, she threw her hand up and stormed off stage. Yeah, y'all know those looks they gave each other when Kamala stormed out the building, didn't even interact with the audience. She was really ticked off by the black woman specifically, not the two sassy dudes. It's not lost on me that the only black people this woman can get along with are the ones in her sorority and gay men. But for some reason the whole time, she was avoiding and deflecting from answering the black woman's questions.
If it matters, as you say, how Israel defends itself, where do you see the line between aggression and defense? And our power as Israel's ally to do something?
Okay, a lot to unpack in what you just said. So let's start with this. I absolutely believe that this war has to end, and it has to end as soon as possible. And the way that will be achieved is by getting a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done. And we are working around the clock to achieve that end. Stepping back, October 7, 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered, and actually and some Americans, by the way, in that number, slaughtered. Young people who were attending a concert, women were horribly. And yes, so I have said, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And,
but Madam Vice President, I think my ask is the difference between aggression and defense.
No, but it's important to put it in context, which is what I'm doing, and I'll get to that.
And we actually learned during the debate that you are a gun owner. But in cities like Philadelphia, handguns are responsible for most homicides and violent crime. The most recent FBI data shows handguns were involved in 59% of murders in our country. How will you address the issue of the use of handguns? Because a push for an assault weapons ban only addresses a significant but small part of the problem.
So, first of all, yes, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz is a gun owner, and we're not trying to take anybody's guns away from them.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
It's amazing how people won't fact check this woman. Just a couple of years ago, she was still stomping on mandatory buybacks.
So passionate about and so looking forward to being president to address. We've got to deal with this.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory.
Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment, listen, we're gonna have to do it the right way.
Responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs. But we do need an assault weapons ban. Assault weapons are designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly,
Yes,
and have
assault
no
weapons
place
ban,
and
yes.
have no place. I'm going to get to it.
Yes.
And have no place on the streets of a civil society. We need universal background checks, which, to your point about handguns, is about saying that it is just reasonable to want reasonable gun safety laws that say we should do background checks that we ought to know. It's just reasonable. You might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon if they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others. You might just want to know.
And respectfully, we do understand that.
But you're asking
Yes.
about...
I'm asking specifically about handguns, because many of those handguns aren't purchased in places.
Universal background checks apply to handguns.
Yes.
They do.
But in
And
many instances, those handguns aren't even bought lawfully. Yes.
Which is why I also have been very adamant for years. In fact, I myself protested at a gun show probably 10, 15 years ago.
Look, I told you from day one this woman was a chameleon. Kamala the cosplaying chameleon. She will flip and flop, lie, and say whatever depending on who she's talking to. Will the real Kamala Harris please stand up? One day she's got a black scent, the next day she's Mexican. Then she first disrespected the NABJ when she refused to attend their convention, only avoiding questions that she wasn't prepared to answer. Now, after 60 days of going to Magic City Thought Pocket peep shows and sorority boule dinners, she still can't seem to answer questions in the most respectful, warm environment that she would ever be in, surrounded by black reporters, her most loyal group. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about Kamala fumbling her NABJ interview. Big shout out to Donald G. I appreciate you, Donald, for your support, as well as Dark Power and Romel. If you want to show your support for the channel, you have to use PayPal for now. The PayPal link is below in the description. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.